you're looking at live images of this massive mountainside as this fire still makes forward progress. The Pacific Palisades fire, as it stands, is at 2,900 acres as we speak. We just heard some of the updates from the public information officers there on scene. Standing by also to lend some context to the situation tonight is Jesse Torres. He's with CAL FIRE. Jesse, thanks for coming back on. This is a massive fire happening in LA proper. When you look at the geographic area where this is happening in, we're talking about a stretch of the California coast that's in between Santa Monica and Malibu. What concerns you about the geography of this fire?
We have a lot of concerns on this fire. The geographically alone is just hills and mountains, and topography, small little crevices of canyons that the fire can get into and roll down and create a fire to go upward. These strong winds are so critical right now that it's really hard to fight fire and stop this fire during these high, strong winds. So our biggest priority is protecting the people, getting people out, and getting these evacuations for people in place to get out safely.
When you look at these images, and you have been watching this closely, I assume, as we have been all night, we're looking at so many live feeds from across the region, and these are just crushing images to look at, to say the least. What do you make of these types of images in such a densely populated area of Southern California?
Yeah, look at this devastation, and I've been through these moments before. This is a tough time for firefighters to deal with. These strong winds are hard to get through. A lot of these areas have narrow roads where it's hard for people to evacuate because it's one car at a time. It's even sometimes difficult to get some of our fire apparatus into these narrow roads and into these areas where these communities are. So we look at this as one piece at a time, and our main priority is getting the people out. And we hope people are prepared for these evacuations. And if you're in these warning areas, be ready to evacuate at a minute's notice and don't wait. As you can see, all the congestion in this area, there's limited roadways to get out. So it's important to get out early. If you have a chance to leave now, just leave now if you're in this area.
We did hear the acreage updated to 2,900 moments ago here. How important is that number in the scheme of things, Jesse?
It's a very important number, and it tells us what this fire is doing and tells us the fire activity. It tells us that this wind is so significant that we can expect an increased number in acreage by tomorrow morning. The National Weather Service is advising us that the strongest part of this wind event will be in the midnight hours through tomorrow morning around 6 a.m. So we haven't even reached the highest potential of these winds. So we're expecting the worst, and we're prepared for anything, bringing resources in from all over California, from the CAL FIRE side, and our local government partners as well.
We don't have any official word on if there have been any casualties as a result of these fires, but oftentimes, just from your experience covering these things, what scenarios, what leads to there being casualties when these fires spread this quickly?
These casualties are devastating. You know, it really puts a stress on our sheriff's department, who's really their primary focus is these casualties, and then us coming in and finding these bodies. It's difficult to identify, in the long run, in the end, how many bodies there are, with accountability from families and getting some data on, how many people were in each home at the time. So that's when we have our residential damage inspectors come in to get all the data and find out that information over the course of this incident over the next week or so.
And I guess what I was getting at is, is it unheard of that sometimes these fires spread so quickly that it simply overcomes areas before people can get out?
Oh yes, definitely. This will overcome some areas, and some people may not be able to get out. We hope that they all can get out and know their evacuation routes. We may have some casualties. We hope not, but just looking at the devastation and the footage you have now, there's a lot of homes destroyed that we can see on your footage here, but we hope for the best, and we hope everyone has that great evacuation plan to get out safely. But as we've seen in the past and in previous years, this is nothing new to us. This is the norm now. It reminds me of the park fire in Paradise, California, where we lost a lot of people, a lot of homes, and a lot of acreage. So hopefully we won't have that case here. Hopefully we have people who have evacuated safely, and we'll see what the numbers say in the end.
In Paradise, of course, that fire moved so fast, overcame all those structures so quickly. The toll of that one, absolutely devastating. One might hope that just because of the sheer amount of traffic and roads in this area, that one would hope it is easier to get out of these particular neighborhoods in Southern California. We're watching firefighters douse the roofs of these homes live right now. At this point of the night, are firefighters' efforts, capabilities limited because of the darkness?
Not so much limited. It's definitely harder to see things and keep focus on your surroundings and where you are. We have a lot of out of area resources coming into the Palisades area now. Some who may not familiar with the streets and the roadway systems, who it takes a minute, like in my shoes in the past, it takes a minute to get orientated on where you're at and which way you're going, where our perimeters are of the fire, and what our incident commanders are directing us to. So it takes a minute to get orientated, but our primary focus right now is protecting these structures and protecting the people. So a lot of efforts aren't even really into the firefighting suppression side of it right now. The winds are so strong that we know we're not going to stop this fire anytime soon, or at least tonight. So our focus is on protecting these homes and getting these fire engines and fire resources to these homes to protect as much as we can.
Could the dark of night impact how this thing is attacked from the air, perhaps, though?
It is. With CAL FIRE, we have our new helicopters that have night vision capabilities, and some of our Southern California Fire Department agencies do have those helicopters as well. So you'll see those at night as well. But some restrictions come in play when you have strong winds like this. It may be too dangerous for them to fly, and that may occur at any moment. So if the winds are too high and it is too dangerous for some of our aviation fleet to fly, they may be grounded until the morning when the sun comes up. So we do have some of those restrictions that may damper our suppression efforts.
You talk about the wind, and we see embers flaring, and they're just getting shot through the sky. And these are big embers, of course, coming off of these structures. How easy is it for these things to get picked up by the wind and start other spot fires in other areas?
Yeah, it's so easy. These type of winds push the embers so far. We see sometimes 2 miles in front of the fire, landing in someone's backyard who may have dry grass or some receptive fuel bed where this ember can land and catch fire. And that's why we promote a lot of times our home hardening of, protect your home and secure your home to make sure those embers don't get into your home at any time. Anyone who's evacuating now, it's important that we remind you to lock tight your home and close those windows and shut off your gas if you're capable to, and shut off the power to the house to prevent those embers getting inside and starting your house on fire. But these embers can land anywhere and start a fire at any time. And then you have a small fire ahead of the fire that's going to merge with the main fire and create that fire to be even bigger, faster than we want it to.
We're going to zoom out here, take a wider look at the Santa Monica Mountains. This is an area of Los Angeles that is mostly mountainous. People think of LA as this large concrete metro, but there are so many large hilly areas. That's why we see so many wildfires breaking out. This specific area is a large mountainous area right in between, as I mentioned, roughly Malibu and Santa Monica. When you look at these images and you look at the forward progression, the line of fire, if you will, can you explain to us how containment happens? How do they actually measure once a fire is beginning to be contained and once it's fully contained?
We look hard at the areas that we have resources on. So containment for us, it's considered, the forward progress of that fire stops. It is contained to this area and will no longer go any further from that section. So as you see that percentage and our statistics rise, that means a certain area of that fire is contained, but there's always the head of the fire that continues to burn. So usually you'll see our containment numbers rise, and that's reflective on the heel of the fire, where the fire has started, where the fire has gone and is just kind of slowly burning that area. We can contain those areas. But when the head of the fire, like a wind event like this, there's not much, a lot we can do to slow that thing down or stop it. So the head of the fire will continue, and we will start working up the flanks and bring where the fire has originated in the beginning, and bring that to a stop for sure.
I'm sure you got to go here. We've got a busy night ahead of us here, but I just got to ask if you have any final messages for anybody that may be watching this, family, friends of people that live in the region. What messages do you have for the folks of Southern California?
If you have family or friends in the area, please check on them, make sure they're safe, and if they're stubborn on getting out, please reinforce them to leave now and leave your home now when you can and get out and be safe and see your family in the end.